Today I have a story, and I mean, it's a wild one because it's about this spoiled kid who attacks his high school teacher over something so incredibly petty and stupid. I think your brain will probably melt because literally all of your brain cells will just die from the stupidity of this kid. Nonetheless, I am 100% sure you will enjoy this story. If you want to be featured on this channel and share your own story, you can do so by mailing me at rajbusiness@gmail.com. But without further ado, let's get right into it. So today's story got sent in to me by a subscriber whose name is Duncan, and he actually told me that it's completely fine if I used his real name, so yeah, I will grant that wish. Anyways, Duncan was in class one day, and there was this incredibly spoiled kid in his class. Let's call him Gus. So anyways, during English class, Duncan and Gus actually had an assignment they worked together on, and the assignment was basically a literature assignment in which they had to discuss the deeper meanings of a book they read. Now for this assignment they got 3.5 weeks to complete, which was actually a really long time, and their English teacher decided to give all the students such a long time because last year nearly every single group of the class was way too late because they only got 1.5 weeks to complete it. So anyways, about a week into the assignment, the teacher told the class that she is going to split up everyone into small groups. And after that, you have to tell your assignment partner what you learned of the book you were reading and any interesting fact that you have caught. So anyways, the teacher starts reading all the students' names and starts to link students together, and yeah, Duncan got linked to Gus, the spoiled kid. So Duncan and Gus go and sit at the table to discuss everything about their books, and Duncan was already pretty far into his book. He was pretty much reading this masterpiece of a novel which had a lot of themes in it, like politics, romance, adventure, you name it. And like for his age, the book was really difficult to understand, but nonetheless, Duncan still enjoyed reading it and telling Gus about it. So eventually, Duncan is finished giving Gus kind of the highlights of his book, and he asks Gus, well, which book did you read and what was it about? So then Gus turns to Duncan and tells him, The History of Call of Duty. Yes, he meant Call of Duty, the game. And after that, Gus just started to ramble a lot and Duncan just couldn't really stop him. Like, he was so into the subject of Call of Duty that you could barely butt in. Anyways, after Gus was finished, Duncan told him, well, I mean, it's pretty interesting what you told me, and I mean, I also like Call of Duty a lot, but to be completely honest with you, I don't personally think that covering the game is a good topic for English class. Like, it's not even a book about a fictional story like mine. This is more like a documentary about a video game. And then Duncan told Gus that there was a very, very, very slim chance that our teacher will even allow you to pick Call of Duty as a topic for English class. And then Gus tells Duncan, no, don't worry about it, it's totally gonna be fine. Anyways, fast forward. About 2 weeks have passed and the assignment was just over halfway done and the deadline was creeping in closer. And at this point, every student gets the chance to talk to the teacher. She will read your assignment so far and you will explain everything you've done while the teacher gives you a lot of useful tips. Now, the teacher, she isn't really expecting any students to fail immediately because, she just gives tips to make everything just a tiny bit better. So anyways, everyone is sitting in the class waiting for the teacher to ask about their assignment, and eventually it is Duncan's turn. So the teacher, she asks him to come over and explain the highlights of the book he's reading, and after Duncan was done explaining that, he just got compliment on top of compliment. He was a good kid, he was a smart kid who was reading material that was way more difficult to understand, obviously. So anyways, Duncan was done and sat down next to Gus, and eventually, after some kids were done with their own presentation, the teacher called Gus to the front of the classroom so, he could do his assignment presentation. And at that point, Duncan looked at Gus and immediately got a flashback to that one moment I was talking about earlier. The moment when Gus told Duncan about what his assignment was about, Call of Duty. And Duncan quickly got up and whispered in Gus's ear, "Dude, are you really gonna talk about that subject we talked about before? Are you really gonna embarrass yourself in front of the class?" And Gus was like, "You will see." And he walked up to the front of the class and started his presentation. Now, don't get me wrong. The kids in his class were pretty surprised at first, but eventually, because most of the guys in the class also played Call of Duty, they were actually surprisingly kinda hooked on it. And like the teacher, she was a really nice woman and all, but she was never really strict to the point that the entire school would hate her or anything, not really. Although the thing is, she could be strict at kids who were just downright rude. Anyways, because Gus was not even following the assignment rules, the teacher was not too happy about it. Like, first of all, she didn't even know what Call of Duty was, or at least never heard about it. And second of all, this kid just made her so embarrassed that he felt the need to talk about a video game instead of a theme that was more serious, like, I don't know, some book, some literature. So Duncan looked at the teacher and he noticed that she actually started to slowly get a more and more annoyed and angry facial expression. And at some point she even started to facepalm herself. It was that bad. So eventually Gus ends his presentation and the entire class start to applaud him, and after that pretty much everyone started to murmur towards each other and talking about what just happened basically. And like Duncan was looking at Gus and the teacher and he couldn't really hear what they were saying towards each other because the class was so loud. But the teacher actually said something to Gus, and after that Gus started to have this angry expression on his face. I don't know if any of you ever played Roller Coaster Tycoon, but basically Gus had this face. A face that a park visitor in an RCT game can have if you piss them off with a bad theme park. Anyways, not only that, but Gus's body tensed up a lot and Duncan could see that Gus started to ball his fists in his blinding rage. So then Duncan was like, uh-oh, what the hell is happening to him? This must not be good at all. And like at first Duncan thought to himself, well, Gus must be pissed because his subject was not according to the rules of the assignment and that he had to start over. And basically because he was the only kid in the class who had to start up on an entire new assignment and he only had 1 week left to do so. But unfortunately, he was not entirely correct with this assessment, or rather, he was totally wrong. Because you see, the next day was also English class with the same teacher, and it was literally just the first class of the day, the first lesson of the day, and Duncan didn't see Gus yet. And the class already started for a minute or two, but Gus still wasn't there. So eventually the door of the classroom opens very slowly with this creaking sound, just like in a horror movie. And Gus is standing in the door opening. He had this fake plastic army helmet on and he was holding this obviously fake plastic Nerf gun in his hand. And in his other hand he was holding this kind of laser tag gun. So at that point, basically the entire class turned their heads to the door and everyone started looking at Gus. And then Gus said, "Teacher, this is your final warning. How dare you disrespect my assignment project about my favorite gaming franchise? This is unacceptable." And this kid was in full Call of Duty cosplay, standing there. And the teacher, she was completely shocked. The rest of the class was also completely shocked, including Duncan. And nobody could even utter a single word. Everyone was just staring at Gus with their mouths wide open. Because quite frankly, any reaction you could have at that point would pretty much not even matter. And after 10 dreadfully long seconds have passed, the teacher said in the most calm manner as possible, "You are not allowed to do your English book assignments on Call of Duty. It is not gonna happen." And I kid you not, after that, Gus ran in the middle of the class and literally did a freaking knee slide on the ground, like in the game. You know, the characters in the game can do that. And like shot the Nerf gun while being crouched, which luckily missed the teacher. And like, she didn't even hesitate a single microsecond because she immediately grabbed him by his ear and literally just dragged him away to principal office. After which Gus got his punishment because he had to clean a huge part of the school during his detention. The best way to support my channel is to binge watch my story videos. They are showing up on the screen right now. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to smash the like button, it would mean the world to me. Subscribe if you are new on the channel, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.